Hello and welcome to Bubble Tea Time, where we spill the tea on last week's games and set the table for this week's. My name is Colin. I mean, my name's Elena, and I'm stepping in for Colin today because he's got a work thing. But I am here joined by our normal analysts, Brian and Jans.
Hello.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for covering, Elena,
Oh yeah, we got this.
producer extraordinaire.
And we also got our special guests, Misa and Timothy.
What's up, guys?
Hey,
We have been waiting for Misa specifically for so many weeks.
Oh my god,
So-
since like what, week 3 of
Week
the...
2 and streak.
Yeah.
3, yeah.
Every week.
You're welcome, guys.
Alright, but let's just jump into it. So we only got one game that happened this week.
Elena doesn't want to remember
Yeah,
it.
I don't want to talk about it, but it was THD versus MVP. And let me get the clip up real quick. Alright, here we go.
Yeah. So, it was a 2-0, but honestly, game 1 was very one-sided, but game 2 was a lot closer, and it took us a while to actually bring out our win. Elena, how do you feel about it?
Oh gosh, I don't want to say anything. Look, all I'm gonna say is I think our team did pretty well over the whole season. We had our issues in the regular season, and then we ran through the playoffs, so
Yeah,
feel
you
pretty
guys
good
did a
about that.
really good gauntlet run.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think you guys definitely evolved. Like, you would get, like, beginning of the season, you guys would annihilate, destroy everyone, like, early game, but then mid-game to late game kind of lose steam.
Most
But
notably
getting,
against
Trust
Misa.
me, Misa's
well, it
Yeah.
happened a couple times. It happened a
Yeah.
couple
an
times,
expert
right?
in annihilating
Yeah.
people.
Oh yeah,
That's
that happened
like-
to me last season, right? Like, I would get leads early and then fucking throw the game. But you guys really evolved, getting to, like, later stages of the season, leading into playoffs. You guys really did a good job transitioning,
Oh yeah. It was,
finding your footing.
yeah. It was definitely a mix of like, I think for the first half of the regular season, we would not win early and then win late, and then it transitioned to good early game and then just garbage late game and we just lose. And then we finally ended up evening out in the end.
I think among all the teams though, like your team was definitely one of the ones to just really aggressively tackle those map objectives, and that was like
Yeah.
Yeah.
something we had to keep like dreading over whenever like we weren't. Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
just difficult to keep pace, I think.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the things we started to focus on later, was just if an objective is coming up in a minute, start setting for it. But yeah, I don't know. How do Brian and Dan feel about that series?
Real sweating. I honestly, like, game 2, I feel like was the first time I actually won lane against Elena, pretty much ever.
Game
And that
two?
felt really good. Game 1.
Oh, game one? Oh,
Yeah.
that was a...
It that was a winning matchup for me, so I better win that one.
Yeah, that was like basically a level 2 lose. I was like, oh gosh, we're not gonna get level 2, and then we didn't back off fast enough.
But game 2 was us, like, I felt very useless for about 15 minutes of the game, and everything, I was just like making sure that topside was going well, which it kind of was.
Mm-hmm.
Brian got really, really fed to the point where Zigzult better than Smite.
Yeah, Zig Sandwich was nutty.
Yeah. I think our comp is pretty good at that game. Like, Kaylin, Sire, like, you're supposed to keep tips to be able to, like, kites out, but you can't really kite out, like, getting bombs in the face. So we kind of like had limited backline access. And you guys didn't. This is kind of a comp tip, I think. In terms of like playing against you guys, I think it was a pretty, it's the MVP kind of dilemma a lot of times where they're about like getting too strong and like I think Mead had a lot of strength in that last game. I think it was something that we had to make sure we were very cognizant of before took fights.
Mhm.
And I think you guys like were able to find the sneaky fights later in. It was just like a little bit too little, too late. Wukong was able to find flanks, or maybe not even flanks, just like dash invisible to our team, get backline, but he was just a little bit too far behind. But yeah, I
Mhm.
think there wasn't any of like MVP rolling over or anything like that. I think um, especially in game two, I think it was like tough fought and something that we wish would have happened in the finals with our scrim buddies. But yeah.
Somebody had to go 2-0 or 0-2.
Yeah, 0-2.
Could have made it, I guess, though, 2-1, maybe.
Maybe. The second game for y'all was close too against the previous AR match. All right. Well, then let's just get into our last and final prediction, which I know Matt is gonna be upset about this one.
Sorry, Matt.
Sorry,
Okay,
Sopa.
but look, okay, for Matt, I wore my purple sweater, which is also my weed sweater.
Dig it.
Is that a One Punch Man?
No.
No, it's Hisoka.
Here, wait, let me
Oh.
switch the cameras real quick so Matt can see. Here you go, Matt. I'm wearing my purple weed
Hunter
sweater
Hunter?
for AR. Yeah, it's Hunter Hunter.
Okay.
So
a
AR
bunch of
can be
nerds.
happy and represented this week because the only person who voted for them was Adam.
Rip. But with Adam's odds right now, how
Yeah, Adam has not predicted too too correctly in the playoffs.
inverse Brian score?
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess let's just get started with Tim. Why are you voting for THD this time?
Oh, all right, easy. So I think it was, I was like comparing their game with AR versus the game into MBV. What I saw was basically, they definitely figured out the right comp that they want to go with. Because it looked like they were able to fight every objective and they did have a lot of priority over them compared to the AR games, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can keep that pace up, I feel like they have a really solid shot at it.
What about you, Misa?
I think THD is a really smart team. I think Brian and Daniel bring a lot of strategy, and the fact that they got dumpstered in the playoffs, like they got absolutely ass blasted, right? But the fact that they got
Game two is pretty close.
Yeah, that was my
Wait, I don't
counter-argument.
remember game two, but it was a 2-0, right? And then
Yeah.
you lost against them in the regular season too.
Yeah.
I think that you take that game, and you guys probably know like what went wrong. And knowing Brian and Daniel, you're gonna adapt and come with a different game plan. And I don't think AR is gonna be ready for that.
Different
Yeah,
game.
what do you guys think? Is there going to be a different game plan, Brian, Dan?
I mean, I guess in a way we're flattered that everybody's voting for us. I think they just like us more than AR or something. Because like
The
the
popular
reality is
vote.
that maybe. But the reality is that we're 0-3 versus AR during the season. So like
Yeah.
we've clearly had our demons and struggled against them. Yeah, I mean we're just evaluating like, hey, what have we done? What should we do differently? Blah, blah, blah. Like it's pretty clear. Like in the last series, like Follow In was definitely like their MVP, and where they were able to make plays around the like his timers and stuff like that. You know, we'll be reevaluating the map and seeing, hey, what should we do? What did we do last time that backfired? The last 3 times, I guess. And improve on that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be a challenge for us, and I think we should be viewed as the underdogs, regardless of what these votes say, considering we're 0-3 against them. But
And two of us are
um,
biased.
yeah, but we'll think like we'll try to, um, I guess, prove the analysts correct and the odds incorrect. So
Yeah. We got this.
Got this.
Though I still think they might end up as pretty close games, to be
Yeah.
fair.
I have a question for the group. Do you guys think that if MBB would have won the previous series, do you think they're a better matchup against AR?
Mm, I think they do match up better. Um, um, because I think MBB's bot lane punishes mistakes much more thoroughly than we do.
Sure.
Um, they're quick on the pounce. um, and
And also,
honestly,
oh yeah.
it's hard to predict the Charlie factor from MBB because the guy can pop off, and if he would have popped off, I think in in the theoretical AR series, I think that Sopa would have been pretty much out of his league.
Yeah, I also thought that like MBB has a pretty like fast, like quickly adaptable like weak top side strategy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they just like I guess they had different goals. They changed their goals up for their weak side each game. But but they play around that really well.
Yeah, we definitely. Shuai kind of just like he's very stable now,
Hmm.
Yeah.
or he's become very stable, and he's also really, um, he's really honestly just like a team fight player.
Mhm.
Like he's much better
Yeah,
outside of the lane, I think.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got some really nice Wukong flanks, game two, and one in particular, which led to you guys getting Baron, where he walked away from top bot lane and wrapped behind man butts
Mm-hmm.
and just stealthed in and ulted him, and I think it was like just one shot at him. It was caught us all really off guard.
Yeah. I guess on the other side, real quick, since we only have THD, I'll be the AR predictor. So why AR is gonna win? I don't know. Right now they just seem very stable, and they're more of the team that like waits for somebody to do something and then responds to it.
Yeah, they're a solid team.
Yeah. They're solid, but they're still not the proactive team, and that might be kind of a meme to them, but it's really true. They're just good at being able to um, respond to fights, especially like with follow the wind in the top lane.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, their TPs are pretty solid.
yeah, his
Yeah.
TPs are super fast, and yeah, they're just really solid. So I don't know. After the 3-0 that they have against THD, um, I don't know. It's just very hard to say with confidence that THD will win over AR, but I think it'll
Mhm.
still be close.
I think it'll be a close series for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like what we said about AR in the past, where like they're a super slow team that like plays around like enemy mistakes. Like um, it's just like at our level, there's a lot of mistakes. So like um, I think a team that like plays really slowly and is like really patient around going to all those TPs, etc. Um, yeah, I mean like they kind of thrive around teams like us that make a lot of plays but also make a lot of mistakes. So hopefully we'll be trying to play with more discipline going into our series, and hopefully our strategies like pan out.
Works
So
out.
yeah, I mean, and big props to like AR in general for like being so dominant this season. Like they've only lost to one team, I guess, just like us, but we lost to one team three times, unlike them.
Yeah.
But like um yeah, big props to them for like finding a style that works for them and sticking to it too. And like especially, I mean, props to Paul the Win again. Like clearly we played against them and after we talked about it. We were like, I mean, it's just he for us for us specifically, like follow the win when we talked about like our games and how they went, like in all three games, we were like follow the win was the best player every game. Like
Hmm.
um on the Rift in terms of like how he was able to like impact map and stuff like that. He was just the best player every game. I think for us, like we view follow the win by far as like our biggest like question mark for an AR game.
Yeah, I agree.
So, trying to resolve like how to make sure Follow the Wind doesn't get out of control is gonna be really big for us. And like, for the rest of the map, like we have confidence in our bot lane. In our games against AR, like in like isolated 2v2 scenarios and stuff like that, I think bot lane was better. So we feel pretty confident about that. We feel confident in our ability to like play lanes out if they're like losing lanes, winning lanes, whatever. It's just like when we got to that mid game state or even that transition between early and mid, like Follow the Wind would just make just a gigantic impact that we're going to be making sure that we try to limit that stuff from happening.
Mm-hmm. All right, and with that, I actually forgot that we were supposed to do stats first, so we're gonna go to Dan's stats now.
Well, there's only
for this matchup, and we
one
got
series to.
yeah.
We got a doubleheader of stats. First off, shoutouts to Follow the Wind, and so this is our shout out to him as he finally gets to shine in Dan's stats.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is a beast. Really high GPM and DPM. Particular, I think that's probably highest among top laners.
Mhm.
But Yui's got one thing on his advantage: vision.
His utility is on point.
Yes, utility. But then again, Yui usually, Sinzi Soul plays more for the team. It's Follow the Wind plays for the team, but is also definitely the pop-off player on his team.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's go to our second one, which
And
is
our second one is Adam's going to be very happy that he finally gets featured along with
The
Sejuani
spotlight, baby.
Mm-hmm.
versus Sopa and his favored Nunu. And honestly, like Sopa's done pretty well. And the biggest thing that Adam has in favor is that kill participation. He's looking to make plays together with Brian and myself, trying to basically cement our leads or start them for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's a very big factor in how we branch out from early game to mid game.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you guys have to say?
Like when I look at these two junglers, like I look at like Adam as a more proactive version of Sopa. Like Sopa is, and I think this is because also this is AR's playstyle, but like he's a lot more reactive. But he's really good at reacting. Like if someone does a play on the bot side, he's gonna be top side, getting all your camps, right? Or taking an objective, or ganking a lane, or even counter jungling. I think he does a really good job at reacting at what's happening on the map.
Mm-hmm.
But Adam is the one making the plays, right?
Right. Yeah, I definitely think THD's jungler is more important to how their team plays compared to Sopa for AR, because they really depend on him to like be in the right spots. But for that's Hugs and Unicorns for THD. But for Sopa, it's more of like they just need him to be there for the counter gank.
Yeah.
And rather than like stepping in and doing like the engages for them or making the plays for them, he's kind of more of like their follow up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. We were supposed to do predictions.
After
yeah,
Dan's stats.
but I completely forgot. So let's just get into some Twitch questions, and I don't think we have that many because we had a short episode. Let's see. I think we only had one from Matt, but it was kind of troll. Because all he asked is, Dan, is if you're ready for Barry Allen.
I mean, I've landed against him 3 times so far. I feel very much okay going into that lane matchup.
Like from your perspective, like how is the 2v2? Like you guys played 3 times. What's your experience in the 2v2 down there?
They give a lot of space because they want us they want to react to our proactivity, particularly if we were trying to force bot lane. You saw it in, was it game 1 against AR this last time we went against them, and where Hugs and Unicorns, myself and Manbutts were all making a play bot, and we got double TP'd on. And Matt's pointed out that Barry Island is his savior. That's also true. But basically, they're waiting for us to make a move, and then they'll follow up after their team responds. Matt also plays really, really safe, so it's a lot harder to kill him. But he doesn't put enough pressure on us if he has a winning matchup.
Yeah, I agree with that. But that's just the typical Matt lane.
Oof.
I mean, I wonder,
Hey,
statistically, is that
hey.
reflected? How much damage does he do?
I'm not sure.
We have a
I
player
can.
stat dude, don't we?
We got the
Yeah,
stats nerd here.
got the stats nerd here.
Yeah. So in the playoffs, it seems like he does 19.54% of their damage. You can compare that to Man Butts, who does 32.22% of our team's damage.
Jeez.
Like, come
Um,
here, Nick Mead. What about Nick Mead?
See, but like Nick Mead does 29.35% of your team damage. You get a lot from Joe as well, who does
Yeah.
25.6. Our team is very much a two carry. I do 34.83. I do 34.83 and Menbutts does 32.22. And then AR is mostly mid lane and their top lane. Mid lane does 31.96 and their top lane is 28.55. So yeah, I mean like it's pretty clear like for in terms of their role in the team, Matt is like a safety valve in the bot lane that plays like really supportive. Um and just tries not to die basically. And then on our team, Man Butts is like, a carry. So like I think, it's just like reflective of how the teams work out. They'll have a lot of carry like threat and potential through their top side, and their bot lane plays like pretty safe. In some of their games, I think against like, to be honest, like inferior bot lanes, like Matt and Barry Allen will go off and pick on people that do dumb things, right? Like they'll play like I don't know, Blitzcrank and Thresh and stuff like that, and like try to eat people alive. But like our bot lane is clearly a pedigree above that. So is the MVP bot lane, et cetera, et cetera. So like I think in those bot lanes, like Matt has more of a supportive impact than a carry impact, and the priority switches around to follow the win.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a question. Um, since Timmy is here,
Yes, what's up?
so I think during the most of the season, we saw that strong bot lanes really, really mattered. Like our bot lane was really strong, started running over people, and like we won a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
By virtue of like playing for the bot lane, getting our carries big, et cetera, et cetera. Um, And so like, MBB was the same way. There are a lot of games where Nick Mead and Elena got really big, started moving map. So bot lanes, were the key, and a lot of good top laners, like a lot of teams built around their top laners, like PO with Drop Out Bear in the top lane, or GB with Karasaki Ace in the top lane, or what's it called? TSC with Probe in the top lane. A lot of the
Mm-hmm.
teams that had more, and SB, I guess, a lot of the teams that had more of a top lane focus really struggled early in the season, to like really do anything in like the regular season with their top side focus.
Mm-hmm.
However, in the playoffs, a lot of those same teams, like some of them flamed out like PO and TSC, but a lot of those same teams that had top lane, like strong side top laners that couldn't use them or something like that, they found their steps and they found their footing in the playoffs. So like SB started getting, ticking. You guys started winning playoff series, and Mayo and Nick, like you and Misa and Mayo and Nick all started popping off in the top side. And
Mm-hmm.
then like Deep Dive was a big poster child for this, where Tim just kind of annihilated people during the playoffs until they ran the MVP wall. So
Mm-hmm.
like with that said, like why is the turn up strength like for top-sided teams like so magnified in the playoffs? Like what happened to make that like to make top lane matter, I guess, going into the playoffs?
Oh, okay. Uh, at least that's a tough question.
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do like with the champions being played. Maybe
Mm,
I don't know. To me, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if how many games of set you played of the regular
right.
season. Um, and I think at least it's my perspective.
Uh-huh.
Once you found like these champions that you feel comfortable with and made an impact, you could
Mm,
absorb a ton of pressure and just set the pace of the game. And I
okay.
think that was the case for a lot of different teams that had aggressive top laners.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think with like early in the season, all the pressure was bot side because of dragons and the objective control. Um, Not that you can't play around that right now, but I think if you get someone ahead, like a bruiser, he's just gonna dumpster everyone in the mid game.
Right. Okay. I think. All right. So, yeah, like the early season was just mega difficult for me because I had no idea how other people played. So I think it was a lot of like sort of getting a good idea of how most of the teams were going to play in general. A little and well, more like lots of extra like input um, helped me really like work out my best strategy for dealing with most top laners. Um,
Which was let them come to you.
yeah, pretty much. I realized like I can still fight people a lot, but in under my terms. Um, and really, I think the biggest part of that is just taking that lead and pulling that weight onto other parts of the map. I feel like just having that extra pressure at top, like all the way across the map, able to just flip the board just by teleporting is pretty vital.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because I think that's basically what like Follow the Wind was doing, right?
Yeah, just his early TPs in the fights.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to team fight as a top laner, I feel is super important in this game compared to some of our top laners that are more just
Solo queue.
for the lane and for like splitting, I guess. Tim. I think Tim this season has gone more away from split and more into team fighting mode.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like after early season, um, uh, I did, we just like deep dive just got together, um, bit of extra coaching guidance, I guess, and it helps my own like play in general
Mhm.
because like what I wanted to do is get it more into team fighting in this game, and that's something I just absolutely struggled with.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think I still struggle with it, but I know what to do with like I guess lulls in the top lane.
Yeah.
Like if there's nothing going on, I should be more proactive. And I
Literally.
feel like just that little bit of extra effort really, I guess, releases some pressure
Yeah.
on the rest of the map.
Yeah. So I don't play top, so I don't know how hard it is to find plays with TP because I don't use TP. But I imagine like trying to figure out like the wind to TP is
And the
super hard and like which wards to go on and how you're gonna flank like that.
yeah, the when and where is
Yeah.
really, really
Mhm.
like where good top laners shine. Um,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's a big part of it.
yeah.
For Tim, it was less critical, I think, learning how to TP and stuff. Like Deep
mhm.
Dive came into their own when Tim
Yeah, Tim was
continued
just
playing weak
popping
side.
off.
Yeah, he continued playing weak side, but this time around, like when people came to gank you, you kind of killed them both, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Um,
Don't remind me, man.
yeah, it was more it was interesting because I knew when MBB played against y'all, like I just knew you guys like MBB would win, and I predicted as such,
Mhm.
and I thought it was going to be even faster than it was, to be honest. And the
Mhm.
biggest reason was like they don't gank top, like there was no opportunity to feed into Tim when they don't really send people to feed into Tim.
Mhm.
I
Um,
mean, we still fed into Tim in game one
yeah,
though.
somehow we still fed into Tim, but
But
like it was interesting because like we saw so many teams like put a lot of their eggs into the kill Tim and snowball games through top bucket, and Tim just kind of killed them all when they tried. Um, I don't know what happened and what ticked between the regular season and the playoffs for you, Tim, but like
Mhm.
you played weak side in the regular season, you played weak side in the playoffs, but you just played it a lot better in the playoffs.
Mhm.
And then when you got advantages in the playoffs, you were able to like transition those into like real meaningful leads and then real meaningful like impact on team fights, etc. And then you won. Like I don't know. I think um yeah, like it really isn't too much more esoteric than I think like you just kind of
Mhm.
found your rhythm and were able to deal with pressure more gracefully when it came to you.
Mhm.
Mhm. I think it had a little bit to do with just choosing the right tool after like so many like um struggles. Like you just
Mhm.
I just like what worked, what didn't work. What can I do to play this in my favor if I'm like constantly struggling in this area? And realistically, set was the answer to everything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How much do y'all think, as it for a new question for me, I guess, how much do y'all think like meta changes, etc., affected this season? Do you think there are any like sea changes that like changed the dynamic of the season? The season was really long, so
Hmm.
with that in mind, like, were there any big meta shifts that actually changed how your teams performed during the season? Positively or negatively?
I think
I
for
don't think so because oh, go ahead,
oh
Elena.
no,
Sorry.
no, you can go, Visa.
I mean, I feel like for this league, I feel like a lot of it is for at least a lot of the players, it is whether or not you get your comfort champion,
Mhm.
right? And I don't think the meta necessarily affected that very much. I think we still saw people playing either the same thing or similar champions that fit that style. So I don't know if the meta influenced
Mhm.
it as
Mm,
much.
I think bot lane enchanters not being particularly meta meant that some people just couldn't be as proactive on the map. Um, and so it led to um, most bot lanes that had players that could pick engage be able to make plays, be proactive, get off map. Most notably, Elaine on Pike,
I only played it once though.
and it was scary.
Did you win
No.
that game?
Unfortunately, she did not,
Oh,
but she got
oh
knocked
no.
out of map, and I think she was the single reason that her team was like in it.
Yeah, I think for MBBs specifically, I think meta-wise, we started playing more champs that we saw like at Worlds, like specifically like the Lilia Lucian combo. I think we're the only team that has and probably will ever pull out that combo. Because honestly, I think once we were watching Worlds, we're like, oh, this is really strong and we kind of can play these things, so let's just practice them. Um, Especially like me and Nick in the bot lane. Like
Mhm.
once Rakan came back in, we started trying all of those combos with him, like the Twitch, even though we didn't play him, and Ash too. And then the same thing with like Ezreal Leona, we were playing that a lot. And Callista set, we started doing that more too. So I think for us, champion wise or meta wise, it was mainly about the champions we were playing, but
Mhm.
probably not as much as with our play style though.
I I feel like for top laners, this meta was really so this meta is I didn't feel it was very split push oriented at all
Yeah.
because of the neutrals.
Mhm.
In fact, like every decision I made was based on neutral timings.
Mhm.
Like this was this was into playoffs.
Mhm.
Before then, it didn't really kick in. I had no idea what I was doing. But in playoffs, it was basically drilled into me that I need to play around neutrals. And so like um, throughout my champion pool, I was just like, huh, who can I pick that no one's been banning that can let
Mhm.
me just fight for these neutrals? And then so that's why I end up with these scrappy top laners that can
Right.
control the wave and at the same time be a huge threat in a just a
Right.
straightforward fight.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think like there are not very many incentives for you to push past the first tower, as a
Hmm.
split pusher, like honestly ever.
Hmm.
Right now, like it's better that you do something else on the map, like get like play for every objective on the bot side. Like it kind of feels pretty bad to be a splitter right now in this meta. And even like the splitters that are like legitimately good, like Camille or something, are good because they can double duty into team fighting,
Yeah.
and you can get wave pressure really fast and then move into team fighting. So like, yeah. So I think for certain players like you and like Chill Wing and stuff like that, players that focus a lot on having side lane pressure, like there's just only so much you can generate in a game where there's so much focus on like dragons, etc. So
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
This is
definitely
yeah.
I think could have affected teams.
Yeah, this was by far the most like different season I've played.
Mhm. Okay, so let's actually get into a few more questions because we ended up getting several more while we were talking real quick. Adam asks, how much of an advantage was seeding in playoffs in the end? Do you think these teams would be in the finals regardless?
I can answer this one, or at least I can start. I think seeding advantages are pretty dramatic. Like, you'd have to be crazy to think otherwise. Like, um, you can potentially get into the playoffs by winning 2 series if you're the first or second seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I mean that's pretty big. And then like how many like think about a team like MBB who started in the eighth seed and had to play like a billion matches to get to where they got.
They played more games in playoffs than in the regular season.
Yeah. So like seeding I think was pretty dramatically important. I think. Um, on that note, though, I do think the two best teams that deserve to be in finals got to finals. Um,
I agree.
I mean, both these teams only
Mhm.
lost to one other team. Um, you know, like I think the format did a good job of filtering down to like the top two teams. So going into the future, we might tinker with our format, etc. Maybe there's some levers we can pull. But overall, like I think the format accomplished what we set it out to accomplish.
It's just really long.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that the format did help was for teams that practiced and they could build momentum, like MBB and Deep Dive. Like their practice showed very much early on, and they could just build from it and be ready to face on much more challenging teams as the weeks went by.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Few people had questions for Misa. I know Mayo had one, but let me see if I can find it real quick.
Oh, my boy Mayo. I gotta answer his question.
It says you have to ask him how it feels to be number one in jungle and number one in facial hair.
Oh,
I don't know, man. I haven't seen everyone's facial hair. Brian, have you started growing a beard
No.
or mustache?
I mean, I haven't shaved in a month, but it looks the same as always. So
Brian has like 4 mustache hairs. Let's see. Oh my god. Okay, Matt asked Misa, "What's your facial hair routine?" And Adam asked Misa, "Are you hot?" Question mark. So,
What? Wait, what was Matt's question?
what's your facial hair routine?
I don't have a routine, dude. I wake up and that's it. I trim it every week, but that's about it. I trimmed it for you guys because I know it's gonna be on the show, and like I gotta look good.
And Adam says, "No, I
Am I hot?
said you are hot." Question mark.
Oh, thank you.
Question mark. What was there? I think there was another one. Let me scroll through real quick.
what kind of razor do you use?
God damn it.
Oh gosh.
I don't know, Gillette.
Keeping it simple.
Let's see. Man Butts asks, "Why is nobody playing Samira?"
Honestly,
she's too high skill cap.
I mean, we should ask the question: is anybody gonna play Samir or Seraphine in finals, or at least the analysts think so?
No, I don't think
I
so.
think Seraphine. I don't expect Samira.
You think Seraphine? I feel like Seraphine feels kind of weak, at least for me. Like my
Seraphine
experience.
mid, particularly because I think it follows Man's playstyle as well. What they want him to play, which is a champion that can go glacial and bring extra utility on the team.
Huh. I feel like
I feel like
is better.
yeah, I feel like
I don't know.
Samira would be
I
better.
mean, yeah. So
I could see Aoki playing Samira.
That is another question. Is Seraphine going to be playable? Because these weeks were so close together.
I mean, I think she's been out long enough. But isn't this a new week? Like,
She's only been out for like a week.
2 weeks.
I thought
Yeah.
she was released last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Was
Pretty
it last
recent.
Tuesday?
Yeah,
Or was it the
something like that.
Tuesday before last?
I thought it was this.
Maybe the Tuesday before last, I think.
Or maybe I just haven't been playing as often as I thought.
Let's look
I
this
don't
up.
remember. It just felt really
October
recent.
28th was her release date, so the week.
Oh.
That was a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so I should.
So
should be
Samir is a green light.
Yeah.
Seraphine.
And
is-
Seraphine.
Seraphine,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Samira.
Well, yeah,
Seraphine.
Samira was already in, but yeah, Seraphine and Samira are in. I think that's all we got. Alright, so let's move on to our standings real quick. We only got the finals, ARTHD once again. And our schedule. So finals are tomorrow at 10 p.m. Pacific.
Jesus,
So
Rip that late time.
We're on the world schedule, baby.
Dude, scheduling is hard. Scheduling is really hard.
yeah, we had to get it set up because preseason is about to hit in a few days.
Yep, and God forbid we play with preseason items.
To emphasize how late this game is, that's basically midnight for me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I mean, it's 1 a.m. for Adam.
it's a best of 3.
Yeah, that's rough, boys.
Sleepy time.
I'll watch the VOD.
No. Wow, you won't even watch the live game where your own brother's playing. Shame on you.
Harsh.
I watch all of
No,
your games. How do you know?
I'll be there. Maybe play a game, depending on how game 1 goes.
Alright, and then, so this is the last bubble tea time that we have a game for, but we are going to do one. We are going to do one next weekend, or next Sunday, just as a quick recap.
And congratulate the winners and all that.
Yeah, congratulations, maybe we'll do an interview or something, I don't know. We have to announce a few things too. So yes,
Okay.
there will be one last final bubble tea time next Sunday. But until then, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Farewell.
Okay, we're good to talk.
Cool. Kyuya, whenever I talk, I think you need to mute yourself.
Wait, yeah, I was trying to do it, but I was getting mixed up, and I wasn't always muting it.